Hi guys, how are you doing? Welcome back. So I'm going to continue the Python class today by discussing data types in Python. In the last session we did discuss data types, but I thought in this session we're going to sort of delve deeper into discussing what data types are because they're very important when you write your program. You need to sort of be comfortable with data types while you're writing your code, so you simply don't have to think of which variable to use for any particular scenario. So we're going to start first with text string. So what I've done is to summarize all the expressions which we're going to run in this session, so it makes it a bit easier and faster. And I'm going to uncomment this, control slash, and what we have there is text1 equals hello Python. So you can use double quotes or you can use single quotes. And what you do is when you print out any of this, it does the same thing. I'm just going to type in print here. But the other thing you notice that this code is in the lesson underscore manager.py, which is another file in this project. Now we used to run the code from the main. What I've decided to do is to run the code from another file and then call that code from within the main file. If I right click on that and I run, if you remember we used debug. So it says, so one thing you'll notice that it says invalid Python interpreter selected for the project, and that's because I changed the name of the project from what it was, which was I think my project, so the last class. So it's now Python for beginners, so that could happen and lead to this invalid Python interpreter selected for a project. What I'll do is to configure the Python interpreter and click on add new and click on add local interpreter, so I could use venv1, which will be different from what he has already, or select existing interpreter, which is that, and then I click OK, and then that should be sorted. So when I right click on this and debug, all I have to do is do that one time. The next time I want to run this, I just have to go here and click on that, run again, and then I get Python is fun. So it prints out the same thing. So you can use single quotes or double quotes. And the other thing you can do, I'll bring this back here just by selecting and dragging. If I enter text3 and I run this again, it's going to print out all this. And now what you see is that in this case you have a text falling across two lines, and because you have this triple double quotes, so when you use triple quotes, right, you sort of can put text across multiple lines. So multi-line, 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 and when you run that, you get a set of lines. So it's easy to do this when you have a long string of text that you want to set into a variable, such as a query, SQL query for instance. So that's how texts are done. You simply use these double quotes or the single quotes to put your text in. Now essentially texts contain a set of characters, and what that means is that as far as Python is concerned, this variable message has a python, and that means that when you do this, so I'll just comment this out so we don't get to see that again, so that when you print message 0, that's the first character, you get a P, and message 3, the third character, you get an H. So what you'll notice that the counting starts from 0, so that's 0, that's a 0, that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 6 characters there, but as far as computer coding is concerned, you count from 0. So if I were to put a 4 here, I run this again, you can guess what will come out. That will be the O there. And what if we were to put in something larger than the length of the string? You get an error because it's an index out of string index out of range, so that won't work. We have string operations, so I'll just uncomment this. You could join strings together just like we did in last session, just first name plus empty string and then last name. So when you do this, when you run this, you get a full name combined, and in several occasions you might want to add two strings together. So by multiplying the hello by 3, you basically incrementing number of times you print that. So if I put 10 here and I run this, you get hello written 10 times. So in this case, you have first name. I'll just create a first name variable, Charles. So that's full name, not first name, Charles Brown. And then when we print this, what it's going to do is to get the length of the entire name. So it says Apple 8 here, but we're probably not going to get 8. You get 13 because 13 is when you count from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You count the space as well. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So the space as well is included. Charles Brown Esket. Now let's count how many that is. You get 12, 18, 19, 20, 21. So that's how that works. You can create integers by simply writing a variable equals a number, positive number, negative number, and 0. I think we've seen that in last lesson, so we'll just move on. And then we have this definition here. Let's comment that out. A equals 15 and B equals 4. So you have various operations that the integers accept. You can add, you can subtract, you can multiply, you can do a floor division, which gives you basically the number of times B goes in A without the remainder. Now modulo says the number of times B goes in A, but just the remainder this time. So you get just the remainder with this. And in several occasions you actually want to just get the remaining number when you do that division. And this is exponential, so A raised to B. So if I run this, you can see this huge value there. That is 15 raised to 4, basically. That's 15 times 15 times 15 times 15. And that's what you get, this huge number. Input integers in comparison. So x equals 10, y equals 20. And then you have print x less than y, which gives a true. Print x equal to y, 2.5. And same thing as integers, you can add them, subtract, multiply, and do the division. So if we run this first, get that. Converting between ints and floats, we did that as well in the last lesson. If I comment that, I have x equals 10, y equals 3.7. Now x float will be equal to x wrapped around the float. That's a conversion from integer to float, because x is an integer here. So it becomes what? It becomes 10.0. And then y int, you convert it y into an integer. And Boolean values. So if Sun equals true, is rain equals false, and then you can just sort of do a computation of that. Same thing as when we do use the integer a greater than b, true, false, since a equals 10, b equals 20, a less than b equals true, a equals 10, a. So if you were to treat data types as Boolean, as far as Boolean value is concerned, 0 is treated as false, 1 is treated as true, so you can as well use a 0 in place of false or a 1 in place of true. A double quotes, which is an empty string, is considered false because it's empty. A hello within double quotes is considered true because it's not empty. An empty list, which is something we'll discuss later, is considered false because it's empty. A list with values in it is considered true because it's empty. So in lesson today, we saw cover data types, string, integers, booleans, and so seeing how several operations that you can perform on them. We'll stop here today, and in the next session we'll go over the next subject, which should be type conversion. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next session.